on earth should these two be given taxpayer-funded security in the first place? They are no longer working royal.
Man, Meghan looks a lot different when she thinks the cameras aren't watching.
Australian viewers of the Mark Dolan show don't want to see Harry and Meghan. The reason why it went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now. And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
I love you.
Including this one as well. Look how up. I mean, to be fair, I don't like being at the airport either. That's a long flight. But man, does she look pissed, no?
These two are literally living a fantasy now. There's no pseudo royal visit. They don't even have a charity. This is all just a private money-making tool.
Something about that Australia trip has people looking twice, and not in a good way. There's been a wave of photos circulating online, and the reactions are strong because of how Meghan Markle appears when the cameras aren't the main focus. From what's being shown, the vibe feels completely different compared to the polished public image usually presented, and that contrast is what's really grabbing attention right now.
You sent me these photos that you saw, and I was kind of shocked. A lot of images coming in about how Meghan acts when she doesn't think anybody's looking, including this one as well. Look how up. I mean, to be fair, I don't like being at the airport either. That's a long flight. But man, does she look pissed, no?
He looks upset. If those are all over the internet, and I said, if that is the trip from Australia, and I don't know that it is or isn't, but it doesn't really matter what trip it is, she'd be giving somebody the stink eye.
Another moment that raised eyebrows involves a photo opportunity with children during the same trip. In one of the images, Meghan is seen interacting with a young girl, and the expression being highlighted by many is what some are calling a glare.
I'll tell you why, because they did all this for photo ops. They don't care about anything else.
Correct.
And so they put all these kids, health in jeopardy and use them as props. They are using these sick kids as props. It infuriates me, Sue. Do you share that?
It's the kind of look that doesn't match the usual warm and welcoming tone expected in those situations. And people were quick to point that out, especially because these moments are usually carefully managed. From what's being described, the child didn't seem particularly comfortable either. There are claims that the interaction felt a bit forced, with the young girl appearing uninterested while Prince Harry tried to engage with her. Then, another image surfaced showing Meghan leaning in for a hug, which sparked even more discussion. Some observers are questioning whether the moment felt natural or staged for the cameras, and that uncertainty is driving even more reactions. Now, it's important to say that all of this is being interpreted based on photos and clips circulating online. There's always the possibility that a single frame doesn't tell the full story. But still, the consistency in reaction suggests that people are seeing something that doesn't fully align with the carefully managed public appearances.
Well, like all narcissists, true malignant narcissists, they never admit that they're wrong. Mm-hmm. It's always somebody else's fault. It's always the rest of the world doesn't understand them. Or, it's why Meghan's constantly reintroducing herself to us and like telling us her story over and over, because she thinks that this time is the one that'll stick and we will all change our minds and come to realize how wonderful she is and that she should be the Queen of England.
I think somehow that Australians are a little naive, a little easy to in as far as flogging her as ever merchandise. I think she thinks we're, hicks down under that won't see through it all and be just so honoured that she's graced us with her strength.
That gap between expectation and reality is what's fueling the conversation. There's also been talk surrounding a video clip from the same visit. In that footage, the child involved appears disengaged, which only added more fuel to the conversation. And beyond the expressions and interactions, another detail started getting attention. Reports claim that masks were initially being worn by those present, but were later removed during the appearance of Harry and Meghan. That shift raised questions for some commentators. The concern being discussed is whether the situation was adjusted for the sake of visuals rather than comfort or safety, especially considering that some of the children present were reportedly dealing with serious health conditions. From a medical perspective, that kind of environment would normally call for extra caution, which is why this detail stood out so much. And that's where the criticism really starts to build. Some voices are pointing out that in previous visits to hospitals closer to home, Meghan has been seen wearing protective gear like masks. So naturally, people are comparing those situations and asking why things seem different this time around. That comparison is adding even more pressure to how this whole situation is being viewed.
Weren't happy, or Meghan, I would say this is her rather than Harry, was never going to be happy with just being a side character, a supporting actress, if you like, to use the analogy from her previous life, to Catherine. She was always going to want to be the leading actress in the drama of the royal family. Her ambition is such that she couldn't compromise, Angela. And as you will know, being an Australian and watching the royal family, being part of that gilded cage, living within that life, does require some compromise on your own personal ambitions, doesn't it? That's what she got wrong.
That's absolutely right. And it requires teamwork. It requires understanding the institution of the monarchy. And, you know, it's just ridiculous of her to have said that she didn't understand what she was getting into. She was massively supported, much more supported than Diana was back.
All of these moments, when put together, are creating a narrative that's being debated heavily online. It's not just about one photo or one clip anymore. It's about the overall impression that these appearances are leaving behind. And right now, the reactions are anything but quiet. The conversation around that trip doesn't stop there because more moments keep surfacing that people are picking apart. There's also a broader point people are making about the children involved. A lot of commentary suggests that these kids likely don't even know who Meghan and Harry are. To them, it's just another group of adults stepping into their space. That's why some viewers feel the interactions come off as staged or overly managed. It creates this disconnect where the moment doesn't feel as natural as it probably should. And that leads into a bigger criticism that keeps showing up. Some voices are claiming that the entire trip feels highly performative. The idea being pushed is that every appearance, every interaction, every camera angle is carefully designed for attention. Whether that's completely fair or not is up for debate, but the perception alone is enough to keep the conversation going. Once people start questioning authenticity, it's hard to shake that narrative.
Just rack off. That's what furious Australians are going to be saying to Prince Harry and Meghan Markle after this astonishing leak has just proved that the couple have been lying about the security costs on next week's fake royal tour.
It went down well in 2018, Paul, is because the Australian public didn't know Meghan Markle very well. Well, they know her now. And what do they know her to be? A gold-digging grifter.
Then there's another clip that really pushed things into a different direction. Meghan made an appearance on MasterChef Australia, and the introduction alone had people talking. She was presented with a lot of excitement, being introduced as the Duchess of Sussex, and the crowd reaction was loud. But online, the response was mixed, and in some cases, pretty critical. From a commentary angle, some viewers felt the entrance looked more like a staged spotlight moment than a casual appearance. There are observations about how she walked in, how the cameras framed her, and how much attention was centered on her presence. The way it was presented gave off a very polished, almost dramatic vibe, and that didn't go unnoticed. Another detail that people pointed out was how she was positioned in group shots. In certain images, it appears she was placed slightly ahead of others, which led to more speculation. Some are reading into that as intentional staging, while others think it's just standard production choices. Either way, it became another talking point. There's also been discussion about whether she was paid for that appearance. Some reports suggest that she wasn't, and that it may have been more about exposure than anything else. And to be fair, that does happen in media. Public figures sometimes take part in shows or events simply to stay visible and relevant. But still, that hasn't stopped people from questioning the motive behind it. At the center of all this is one consistent theme. People are debating whether these moments feel genuine or carefully constructed. Every new clip, every new image just adds another layer to that conversation.
They're doing this trip to make money, to get attention, and I want to play another clip that's been making the rounds.
We've had MasterChef royalty in the kitchen before, but no one like this. All the way from sunny California, please welcome to MasterChef Australia, the Duchess of Sussex, Meghan Markle!
What? Oh my God! Royalty, Sue! Oh my God, like, I'm sorry. So she's now resorting to reality star judge.
She went from living in a palace, and she does this model walk coming in, right hip, left hip, right hip, left hip, with the light flashing on either side of her to make her look like a runway model.
She loves the attention too. You can just tell she has to take it in. Like, oh, keep it together, Meghan. They love you. They love you, Meghan.
Now I have to tell you.
And right now, the opinions are all over the place with no sign of slowing down anytime soon. The discussion doesn't slow down there, because once that MasterChef Australia appearance aired, the reactions online really started pouring in, and not all of them were positive. A lot of people began questioning why that appearance even happened in the first place, especially considering how packed that Australia trip already seemed. From a commentary point of view, some are saying it felt like a clear move for visibility. The argument being made is simple. Limited time in Australia, yet somehow there was space to fit in a reality TV appearance. That detail alone has people raising eyebrows and asking what the real priorities were during that visit. Now, to be fair, MasterChef Australia isn't exactly seen as a low-level show. It's actually pretty well respected and widely watched. Many people enjoy it for what it is, a fun and engaging cooking competition. But still, the timing of this appearance is... what's causing the debate? Some feel like it didn't quite match the tone of the rest of the trip, and then things really picked up when people started sharing reactions online. Some of the commentary has been seriously harsh. From what's being seen, certain viewers didn't hold back at all. Reactions ranged from disappointment to outright frustration, with some even saying the appearance completely changed how they felt about the show. One strong opinion that's been circulating goes something like this: well, that's it. I'm not watching anymore. Who thought this was a good idea? Another take being discussed says, you just ruined the whole vibe of the show. These kinds of reactions might sound extreme, but they show just how divided the audience really is right now. At the same time, not every comment is negative. There are also people pushing back against the criticism. Some are saying the backlash is over the top and unfair. One perspective being shared is, why are people so quick to hate? It's just a guest appearance on a cooking show. That side of the conversation is trying to bring things back to a more balanced view. Still, even with mixed reactions, the overall tone online seems pretty intense. It's like every new appearance adds another layer to the ongoing debate around Meghan and Prince Harry. And once people start forming strong opinions, those views tend to spread fast.
Was terrible. What is this? Is this Meghan and Harry in the middle of what? Nothing. This is not AI. This is no people in here waiting for them. No crowds. They have these barriers, like they were expecting, I don't know, hundreds of people to flood the streets of Sydney and be excited about, there's gonna be the sausages in there, but no, nothing.
Another interesting point being discussed is how these public moments keep fueling the cycle of attention. The more appearances happen, the more commentary follows. Then the reactions to that commentary create even more discussion. It becomes this constant loop where every move is analyzed from every angle. From a broader perspective, some commentators are saying this situation highlights how public figures operate in today's media space. Visibility matters, attention matters, and every appearance plays a role in shaping public perception. But at the same time, that visibility also opens the door to heavy criticism. There's also frustration from those who feel like any criticism gets quickly labeled in a negative way. Some voices argue that questioning public appearances shouldn't automatically turn into accusations of being unfair or hostile. They see it as normal audience reaction, especially when something feels off or overly staged. At the end of the day, what's clear is that these moments are keeping Meghan Markle in the spotlight, whether the attention is positive or negative. Every appearance, every clip, every comment just adds more fuel to the ongoing conversation. And right now, that conversation is louder than ever, with opinions coming from every direction. The conversation around Meghan Markle doesn't just stop at appearances or public moments, it goes deeper into how people are interpreting her overall image. Some commentators are now openly questioning the way she presents herself, especially when it comes to being seen as a victim in different situations.
Like these pictures of her sitting with these small groups of women and people as if she deserves to be sat there. And I'm going to keep it honest. She has done nothing to deserve sitting there. She married a prince. What she did. She was on the Suits that wasn't even popular that much until it reran on Netflix and she disowned it. She was a Deal or No Deal model. Like, this woman did nothing. She's done some charity. Okay, maybe I could give her. So have most of the world. What on earth? Expertise, life experience. She's done nothing to be paraded around like this faux royal expert. It really frustrates me the more and more.
The argument being made is that this narrative shows up again and again, and not everyone is convinced by it. From a commentary angle, there's a growing opinion that everything is viewed through a very personal lens. The idea being discussed is that criticism gets framed as unfair treatment, while support is expected without question. Whether that's accurate or not is still debated, but the perception alone is what's driving these strong reactions online. Another topic that's been getting attention is her previous projects and how they've been received. Some voices are bringing up past shows and media ventures, claiming they didn't land the way they were expected to. One example often mentioned is her own content projects, which, according to some commentary, didn't generate the level of success that was anticipated. That's now being compared to her appearance on major platforms like MasterChef Australia, and people are asking why those opportunities are still happening. There's also criticism tied to her background and how she's positioned today. Some commentators are pointing out that before becoming widely known, her career included acting roles and television appearances that weren't seen as major global hits at the time. Of course, others push back on that, saying success can grow over time and recognition doesn't always come instantly. Still, this debate keeps resurfacing in discussions. Another recurring point revolves around public appearances tied to charity work. Some observers are questioning whether these moments are always presented in a genuine way. The concern being raised is about the presence of cameras during these activities. For some, it creates the impression that the focus is more on visibility than the actual cause. Others, however, argue that media coverage can help bring more attention to important issues, so it's not necessarily a negative thing.
As a cash machine. This is just a cash grab. They want to bring whatever it is that they bring. And look at it, they are no longer royal adjacent. They are not qualified psychologists. And as far as we can see, they aren't even the philanthropists they attest to be, because we haven't seen any donations.
Formed in concrete now. I don't think he's capable of pivoting. I think he and his wife truly see the world through the lens of victimhood. I think they love it. I think they love being martyrs. I don't understand what you think is appealing about moaning when you live in a mansion that has 14 bathrooms worth $14 million. Harry, so per this source that feels the quasi-royal life is great for him, even though he says in Australia, I hated being a royal and it killed my mother. Well, which is it? It can't be both. And then Meghan, it's the utter thumping boredom of the narcissist.
This difference in perspective is what keeps the conversation divided. On one side, there are people who believe that public figures should highlight their efforts to inspire others. On the other side, there are those who feel that true charitable work doesn't need to be constantly documented. That contrast in opinions is a big part of why the discussion stays active. Then, there's the ongoing talk about business ventures and partnerships. Some commentators are claiming that certain deals may not be continuing as expected. There are mentions of streaming platforms and media collaborations slowing down or shifting direction. While not all of this is confirmed, the speculation alone is enough to spark more conversation. From a broader viewpoint, some believe this could be part of a bigger transition. The idea being suggested is that Meghan and Prince Harry may be adjusting their approach, exploring new ways to stay relevant in the public eye. Whether that's through media appearances, projects, or different types of collaborations, it's clear that every move is being closely watched. At the center of all this is one thing that stands out. The level of attention surrounding Meghan Markle hasn't faded at all. If anything, it keeps growing with every new appearance or headline. Supporters and critics alike continue to analyze every detail, and that ongoing spotlight shows no signs of slowing down anytime soon. At this point, the reactions surrounding this entire Australia trip have reached another level. What started as a few clips and photos has now turned into a full-blown online debate that just keeps getting louder. Every new detail, every resurfaced moment, and every appearance is being picked apart from all angles. Some people are clearly frustrated with what they're seeing, while others still believe the criticism is being pushed too far. But one thing is certain: this situation has everyone talking. From a commentary perspective, it's not even just about one specific moment anymore. It's the pattern that people think they're noticing.
My source, who works within the Royal Children's Hospital in Melbourne, has revealed that when Meghan arrived, she said, "Let's make this quick." And as my source told me, such a humanitarian, not then the acting started. Acting of her pretending to care.
Source says, a friend of mine is absolutely furious. She paid all that money and was promised a whole weekend full of fun, food, drinks, activities, only to find out Meghan stayed for 30 minutes. The guest was reportedly left confused as to what's happening and with expectations on far more access to the Duchess throughout.
The way interactions play out, the timing of appearances, and the constant presence of cameras have all become part of the bigger discussion. For some viewers, it creates the impression that everything is carefully managed for attention. For others, it's just the reality of being a public figure in today's media world. Either way, that divide in opinion is what keeps this topic trending. There's also a growing sense that audiences are becoming more vocal than ever. People aren't just watching quietly anymore. They're reacting, analyzing, and sharing their thoughts instantly. And when something doesn't sit right, those reactions spread fast. That's exactly what's happening here. The more clips circulate, the more opinions build, and the more intense the conversation becomes. At the same time, it's important to remember that not everything is as clear-cut as it seems. A single clip or image can only show so much. Context matters, and sometimes what's being interpreted online doesn't tell the full story. Still, that hasn't stopped people from forming strong opinions. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's pushing even more discussion and debate across every platform. And let's be real for a second. This level of attention doesn't happen by accident. Whether it's positive or negative, staying in the spotlight means people are watching closely. Every move, every appearance, every reaction becomes part of the narrative. And right now, that spotlight is brighter than ever. So now it comes down to you. What's your take on everything happening during this Australia trip? Do these moments feel genuine to you, or do they come off as overly staged? There's a lot to unpack here, and different perspectives make this conversation even more interesting. Drop your thoughts down below and let it be known. If you've been keeping up with all this drama and want more breakdowns just like this, make sure you hit that like button, share this video, and subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Turn on notifications so you're always in the loop when new updates drop. And don't go anywhere just yet. There's another video popping up on your screen right now that dives even deeper into celebrity drama and stories you don't want to miss. Go check that out and stay locked in, because there's always more unfolding. See you in the next one.